Welcome back to the Florida Weather Watch YouTube channel. My name is Daniel, and I'm the owner of the Florida Weather Watch YouTube channel and Florida Weather Watch Facebook page. Before I continue, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below to help grow this Florida Weather Watch community. Please help me by clicking that like button down below and also commenting if you have any questions or comments that you would like to add. I appreciate all comments and questions, especially since I'm a weather educator and a weather enthusiast and hobbyist. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully all of you are now enjoying in the state of Florida the much cooler weather that has now settled in after our bit of a disturbance came through the state of Florida yesterday. It was a pretty wet day across much of Florida. Actually, what I should probably start out with is covering how much rainfall actually fell um, on Thursday across the state of Florida here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out here and I'm going to go ahead, go into radar MRMS, and then I'm going to go to Um, let's go to 48-hour precip. Okay, so here is the precip totals by radar estimates across the state of Florida here. Uh, and it was some pretty welcome rain for many areas. The general rule of thumb with this radar view is that anything that's in the blue colors is generally speaking up to a half an inch of rain. The green colors, that's where you get your half-inch to 1 inch rainfall total. So you're going to notice a lot of places across southern Florida here, like zoom in here. Fort Lauderdale had about 0.85 inches of rain. Some areas that top the inch of rain down near the Hollywood area, down towards Miami. The darker greens here represent an inch and a half typically, or more of rainfall. So the southern tip of Florida had some impressive rainfall totals. Scooting on down to Naples and the Everglades here, they had widespread near inch rainfall totals. Going up to Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte, you had zero point 0.6 inches of rain. And then Tampa was a big winner. Some areas in Tampa had almost 2 inches of rain yesterday, which is very welcome, especially across St. Petersburg. These areas are in an extreme drought right now, especially St. Petersburg, Clearwater down to Braden and Sarasota. These are the areas that are in extreme drought from record low levels of rainfall this year, uh, where parts of Sarasota have had a little over 2 feet of rain for the entire year of 2023. It'll be interesting to see when they calculate these rainfall totals in, whether or not Sarasota was able to escape their record low rainfall total, which I think is 25.1 inches of rain in a year. It'll be interesting to see if they were able to do that. I have to wait for the next drought monitor to come out next Thursday to know that for sure. But the good news is across the state of Florida, some areas that desperately needed rain, especially the west coast of Florida here, some areas there did get some welcome rain. But going to what the current situation is, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to have a reinforcing cold front coming through here, where we already had our initial cold front. And what's happening right now is that bowling ball, that pinwheel of a low that I was showing you on Wednesday afternoon, is now currently located. It's now currently located over the Ohio River Valley here near Illinois and Indiana and Kentucky here. You can see it kind of spinning away here. And as this low is spinning away here, what it is doing is, let me just go ahead and draw the low spinning away. I could do that better. Okay, so the low's spinning away in this direction. You can see the flow on the back side of it like this here. And what is happening is with this low, you're going to notice, look at the, by the way, this is a water vapor loop. Water vapor tells you how wet or dry the air is. That's it. All these fancy colors you see on these satellite images mean something that's very simple to understand. So this is showing you how wet or dry the air is. And obviously the greens and the whites here and the blues represent wet, moist air. The yellows and the oranges represent very dry air. And typically in winter, dry air is cooler air. So what you're going to notice here is look at, let me change the color here. Okay, what I'm noticing here is there is a big push of dry, cool air on the backside of this system right here. Right here and crossing down through the Texas, through the state of Texas here and coming across this way. Now, the cool thing on this view is you can actually see our reinforcing cold front. Our reinforcing cold front is this boundary right here. Actually, I could draw that in a little bit better for you. Okay, so we got our reinforcing cold front that is right here. This boundary of clouds, high upper level clouds right here, is our reinforcing shot of cold air. That is going to be coming in, and I'm sure the people in the Florida Panhandle are feeling it already right now. But this is our reinforcing cold front here. And I'm just going to finish drawing it in here. So that's our reinforcing cold front. So what this low is going to do is it's going to take all this cool, dry air and shove it into Florida. And that's going to set up what I was talking about on Wednesday, where this weekend will be the coldest part of this entire event. So this reinforcing shot of cold air, this front is going to come through Florida here. It's going to sweep on through this way, and all this cold air back behind this low that is going to travel, generally speaking, in this direction over to the northeast is going to bring us that secondary cold shot. And this secondary cold shot is actually going to be pretty impressive for Florida standards. And I'm going to explain why in just a second here. So this is our current situation. Again, cold front going to be coming through, secondary cold front. This low over the central part of the country is going to send all this nice, cool, dry air from Canada down our way. And what currently is happening is I'm going to take you to the National Weather Service forecast office in Jacksonville, because now the National Weather Service in Jacksonville has issued frost advisories for the Jacksonville, Gainesville, and Lake City areas here. So if you live in Jacksonville, Lake City, or Gainesville, get ready for a very cold night ahead. And what a frost advisory means is that temperatures as low as 32 degrees will result in frost formation. So again, tonight in Jacksonville, Gainesville, and Ocala, there are going to be areas, Lake City, there are going to be areas in Northeast Florida that from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, which is Saturday morning, will be at the freezing temperature, maybe even a degree or two lower. And 32 degrees will cause frost, and frost can kill outdoor vegetation if it's left uncovered. So if you're in Northeast Florida tonight, you got plants outside, make sure you cover them up very nice and warm, or bring them indoors if they are a potted plant. Because it is going to be a very cold night ahead for Northeast Florida. All of Northeast Florida will be in the lower to mid 30s here. Some of the forecasts here show at the freezing mark for Taylor at 32 here, Kingsley at 34, Live Oak and Lake City at 33, Jacksonville even 37 degrees, Gainesville 35, Ocala 38. So a very cold night ahead for the northeast part of Florida. Now, what I'm going to take you through right now is this is called the National Weather Service blend of models. This is now where the National Weather Service takes all the computer forecast models and blends them together to give us an average temperature based upon all of the forecast models. So what this model shows is the average of all the computer forecast models we look at as meteorologists, and tells us what the average temperature is. Obviously, some models are weighted more than others because of their accuracy or their skill. So this is from this morning at 9 a.m. You're going to notice like temperatures across the state of Florida. I'm going to go to about one. Let's see here. Typically, the warmest part of the day is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're going to notice, ladies and gentlemen, that we got the cold air is already there across northern Florida by this afternoon. Highs only in the mid to upper 50s across northern Florida. That's our reinforcement cold front. You can kind of see the reinforcement here with this temperature gradient, so to speak, right here. And that is going to come through the entire state. So this afternoon, highs will not get out of the 50s in northern Florida. Very cold day for Florida standards. 60s widespread down south, maybe touching 70 in Miami. And then as we go through tonight, you can see that surge of cold air coming down the peninsula here. By 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, the models show 30s widespread across northern Florida here, 40s as far south as Port St. Lucie. Maybe some of the interior parts of the Everglades near Lake Okeechobee will be in the 40s, but it's not going to be the coldest night tonight. So when we step it through time here, you can notice tomorrow temperatures struggle to rebound. It's going to stay very cool during the day. 50s again, widespread for high temperatures, afternoon high temperatures in the 50s, all the way down to Orlando, where the forecast temperature tomorrow afternoon is 59 degrees, which is insane to think about for Florida standards. 60s all the way down to Miami. The Florida Keys down here, even the Florida Keys won't get out of the 60s tomorrow, which is incredible. And then as we step it through time, tomorrow night is going to be the coldest night across Florida, where upper 40s will come into inland Broward and down to possibly even inland Miami-Dade County. Widespread 30s again tomorrow night across, tomorrow night into Sunday morning for northern Florida here. Gainesville 36, Jacksonville 37, Tallahassee 35. These temperatures could be even colder depending on how far south the high pressure center develops after the cold front passes, and if there is no wind at night in this type of scenario, you can also get something that is called cold air advection. And what that means and what happens is that radiational cooling, my bad. You get an effect called radiational cooling where at night behind a cold front, if you have clear skies and no wind, any heat that's at the surface escapes back up into space, radiates back up into space, and that gets filled in with cooler air down at the surface. So depending on radiational cooling as well, which the computer forecast models sometimes have a hard time resolving, we could see these temperatures be even a couple degrees colder, which is why my forecast is a bit colder than these temperatures, taking that into account because of that natural process there. And then we step it through time. Sunday afternoon, again, all of the Florida Peninsula not getting out of the 60s during the day on Sunday. Still upper 50s for afternoon highs on Sunday. And then we step it through time. Another cold night, Monday night across the peninsula. Not as cold for northern Florida because the winds are going to start changing directions from the northwest, which is the coldest flow. We could get to a northerly flow to slightly northeast at this point, and then Monday afternoon, still New Year's Day is going to be cold still. Afternoon highs only in the 60s, maybe a touch of 70s here or there, depending on how strong the sun can come through. And then on Tuesday night, another reinforcing shot of cool air will come through the peninsula here. And then we slowly, gradually start warming up into next week here before another cold front comes through on Friday of next week. So it's going to, again, this is an extended period of cooler air. So the bottom line is with this system right here, this big system spinning across the central part of the United States, this reinforcing cold front now across the Gulf, now moving through Florida. We are in for an extended period of cooler air, uh, and it's going to be cold for the next several days for Florida standards, with even frost again tonight across northeast Florida. You have the potential for frost, maybe even freezing temperatures uh, from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning across northeast Florida. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining again. Please subscribe to the channel. Share this out with all your friends and family in Florida because that's the best way to help me grow this channel. Hit that like button down below if you like the forecasts and my explanations. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section down below. I love to help you better understand weather if I can. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, like as my late great cross country coach Jim Richardson would say, there'll be weather, whether or not. But no matter how cold the weather may get, I'll be here to make sure you stay warm and ahead of the cold air. Thank you very much for joining. Have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend ahead.